YouTube friends, what is going on? David Lee back, and we are here with a brand new video. Today we're talking about a subject that I feel can hopefully help you out, and that is the idea of shooting wide open, right? And sort of the pitfalls when you're always shooting wide open. Now, that's not to say that I don't shoot wide open, but there is very select times where I would choose to shoot wide open, and really under 3 scenarios. So today I'd like to invite you to look at these 3 key elements of when you should consider shooting wide open, and hopefully it'll help you on your next project. Now, shooting wide open, you've probably seen it, pretty frequently in the last year. At least I have. Many shows, many feature films. The idea is sort of like, we're in a situation where everything is super blobby. You can't really tell what the background is. There's no context to where you are. And you're super shallow depth of field, like, a T1.5, T1.2, maybe even like super special lenses that are like a T, 0.95, right? And so you have like maybe one eyelash in focus, and that's about it, right? So anyways, today, let us go through the first key element, or the first scenario where you feel like shooting wide open can benefit you. And the first one is when you're in a location that has a very boring background. We've all been that white walled, room or living room, office space where it's just boring. There's, lackluster environment, lackluster atmosphere, and you can't really do anything about the background. There isn't any art direction. There's no art. Maybe there's no art department at all for you to put up a frame, to put up a photo, to put up or put in a tree or anything to just break up the bland background. So usually we default to shooting wide open. And depending on how wide your aperture is, maybe you're a T2, which is still pretty shallow, maybe a T2.1, T2.9 on a longer focal length on a 50 mil or a 75 millimeter. Right, it's under those circumstances where if I'm in that situation, I will, do my best to see what we can do. Maybe there's something in a closet. Maybe there's something in the utility room. Maybe there's again the instance where there's foliage or trees, like a plant in the front of the area, and we just repo that to the area that we're shooting at. But again, if you're kind of out of luck and there's nothing left to put up in the background to break up the background in order to create depth, to create contrast, then at that point I will shoot wide open. And hopefully in those situations you can look at it and say, you know what, I've tried everything first, nothing else is left, let's just shoot wide open and get rid of the background, right? And the second element, or the second scenario where you can be in, where you are defaulting to shooting wide open, is if you're on a wide angle lens and there's no more physical space left to create depth or contrast, right? So you can take this instance, right? My YouTube setup is pretty much my office, small office space, and I'm on a full frame camera, my Sony a7 Mark IV, and on a 20 millimeter lens and an f1.8. It's their 20 millimeter G lens, which I actually like a lot, and I'll be making a review on this probably in the next month or so. But anyways, going back onto topic, right? In this situation, the reason why I'm wide open is because the wall behind me is pretty close to me. I'm only maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 4 feet away from the wall. So there's not a lot of depth already for me to create any sort of background separation, right? So shooting at an f1.8 can help me out. You can imagine if I was on like a crop sensor or a Super 35, I would probably need to be at like, even a wider aperture, maybe like an f1.5 in order to sort of break up the background, Am I still in focus here? Hopefully this autofocus is... I am very surprised also. This autofocus is really, really good on the A7 IV. But that is a tangent. You have not come here to rant or listen to me and watch me rant about autofocus. You can definitely watch Philip Bloom. He has many videos on that. Shout out to Philip Bloom. Good guy from what I hear. This is not going into the video, not at all. The third is what I call hour number 9 fatigue. You've all been there before, right? It's hour number 9. You're approaching hour number 10, where you're just thinking about packing all your shit up and going home, right? Maybe you're on hour number 11, right? I just call it hour number 9 because that's like the average, right? You're at the point where your brain is fried. Your creativity is just gone. Your creative juices are all used up. And say you're in a situation where you're filming the last 1 or 2 scenes, one or the last 2 shots. And where you're positioned, maybe there's a combo stand, maybe there's a C stand, maybe there's the boom mic or something, right? And it's right behind where your talent or where your product is. And you're at a point where you're like, you know what? Your gaffer, obviously, the gaffer and grips usually have, and the ACs, you're usually the first one that gets more tired than everyone else because your brain is just constantly working, right? And they say, hey, give me 5 minutes, I'll reposition this light, right? But then when they reposition the light, something else changes, and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna shoot wide open, hide the stand behind the person, and call it a day, because at this point it's like the last shot. It doesn't really matter at that point, So hour number 9, fatigue. You're at the point where, again, you just want to, you're done. You're mentally done. You're physically checked out. And again, does it really matter that you see a stand for like 1 or 2 seconds of this frame that's going to be shown in your commercial, right? Or whatever the project is? Probably not, right? And from that point, just go wide open, right? Wide open, blow out the background. Who cares? It's probably a boring background anyways at that point, unless art department is there and they're like, no, I spent 10 minutes setting up that frame in the right angle and polishing it, making it clean. It's like, sorry, art department, we gotta go. All right, so hour number 9, fatigue sets in. Just shoot wide open and call it a day. Anyways, I hope this video helped you guys out in some way, shape, or form. If it did, please leave it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as always, just so you are notified of new content coming out. And remember, friends, every day you have an opportunity to create your experience and to write and tell your own story. My name is David Lee, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right. Pretty good? Pretty good, I think. I don't know. Fuck it.